Congressman Dan Webster.
Well, thank you, Patricia. It's great to be here, and I just got to say one little thing before we get started, and that is this. We are very aggressive as a office in constituent services. There is a $3.6 trillion business called the federal government, and I know that probably when you call them, they pick up the phone and they answer your question, but that doesn't happen for everybody. And so what I can tell you is we will intervene for you. We will help you, and we're actively pursuing this. We have 2 Lake County offices, one in Tiberias, one in Claremont, one in Polk County at Winter Haven, and one in Orange County in Winter Garden. And if you get one of these, you can get one of these on the way out. And it tells a little bit about the issues we deal with, which are everything from Social Security to the United States Post Office. And there are statutes that demand that when we make a congressional inquiry, they have to answer us. So I'm going to give you 2 examples, and maybe this will whet your appetite to say, maybe I should at least have that just in case. And first of all, there was a couple that were leaving on vacation. They were going out of the country, and they were traveling to Miami. They were leaving. They had their passports. They looked them over again as they were traveling on the road, and they read in their child's passport that it only lasts for 5 years. Everybody's passport, people think it lasts 10, but not for children. It only lasts 5. Well, it already expired. They're leaving. And so they called our office on the road, and they asked if we make an appointment at the Miami passport office. We said, yes, we did. And then they got stuck in traffic on I-95. They weren't going to be there. This office closes at 4 o'clock. This is the federal government. So the latch is turning at 3:59. It's going to close. So we call them, get them on the phone, and say, don't close. They'll be there. They'll come in the back door. Please don't close. Then when they got to Miami, the Miami Heat was having their big parade for the championship. All the roads are closed, and they're still late. So we still have them on the phone. We tell them, don't close. It's going to be a little bit longer. They get there. They go inside the back door, and they find out they need a picture. So we tell them, don't close. Please don't close. We know you need a picture. So they waited. They went down to CVS, got the picture, came back, took the picture, headed Miami International, and flew out. Now, somebody may be able to do that as just a citizen. I don't know if they could or not, but we helped them. So there's one example. Another one was, there was a couple who, we don't do tax forms, but we can intervene and get the IRS to at least look at something if you want us to intervene for you. So we did. So a couple took a deduction, the IRS denied it, they paid their tax, but they then looked it over again and felt very comfortable that that deduction was real and it was something that they should get. And so they called us, we got them an appointment, they went in, they explained it to the IRS agreed and said, we made a mistake, and they sent them a check for $40,000. I can't do that every time, but there's just 2 examples, and I can give you hundreds. There are hundreds of people we have helped. Overseas problems, adoption problems with kids over there. We do all kinds of things, and we're here to help you. So just know, get one of these, and I'll tell you, here's what I'd like to do. Have these sessions all over the district, and I sit down, and we just go down the road. If you have something to say, you can say that. If you have a question, we'll try to get to that. But we're going to go down and try to take as many as we can. There's a time frame here that Patricia has, which is 1 hour, but we'll get as many as we possibly can. Once you get your question out, make it short. If it's already been said, you can just say, I agree with that person up there. You don't have to say it again. So anyway, great to have you all here. You're going to have to speak up so that I can hear your question, but also the people here, and if they can't hear, I'll try to repeat it for you. But anyway, so I'm going to sit down here, and we're going to start right here. That's right.
Congressman, my name is Seward, and I'm a follower of Box and one of the questions I have
Raymond Flair. Why does the Congress seem to be so afraid of taking some kind of action against the IRS? They've broken the law, they've lied to us, and it seems like the Attorney General of this country that I serve, the Congress has a responsibility to us. You're the people's house. And I sometimes get the feeling that the House doesn't care about anything except exempting themselves from Obamacare and getting reelected. I would really like to hear a voice, right or wrong, but stand on principle. Even if you're a lone voice in the desert, that's better than just shutting up and letting us take it. Anyway, that's my question.
No, I'm not. No.
And I hear all of this about Obamacare and don't really understand it, don't know if I can keep my insurance or not, and I think a lot of people are probably saying, respectfully, sir, I'd like to know, are you going to vote yes or no on defunding Obamacare, and what's your thoughts on it?
What's the answer? Are you going to answer any of the questions?
My name is Patsy Martin, and I would like to know what your stance is on immigration. I say that the American people do not need it. Do not need amnesty.
Hear, hear.
Mr. Webster, could you stand up and repeat the question? I can't hear anything back here.
And maybe answer them. You make your first election, what are you going to do this time?
They let any kind of troublemaker.
Really, I'm the one who's supposed to be hearing, and then when I answer them, I'm going to answer them. And so you'll hear the question again. Go ahead. Just talk loud.
How do you stand on the grassy people? It is coming up. The American and out of the
Thank you for being here.
Can't hear you.
Put it into the mic.
My name is Jim Jacob, and my concern tonight is that we are a country that is governed by rule of law. We have a president and an attorney general who seem to, at whatever they want to, circumvent that law, and our Congress, our representatives do nothing but let them get away from it.
My name is John Gregory, and my question is, when will we see from the Republican Party some leadership who will actually take on Obama and take on the liberal agenda in a meaningful way? John Bonner has said he's not a leader, he's a facilitator. And I guess my question is if that's the case, what the hell is he doing being Speaker of the House? Mitch McConnell says he won't oppose the immigration bill in the Senate. So we're not taking any action to oppose these things that the majority of the American people are against. In addition to that, I have a list here that I'll leave with one of your staff.
This
of instances where
is Barbara. She's not too bad.
violated the laws of the United States. He's taken an oath to uphold the laws of the United States and the Constitution, but he violates the law, he ignores the Constitution, and there's nobody in Congress who seems to be taking him to task or holding him accountable for this. So the question is, when will the Republicans stand up and lead?
Congressman, I didn't have a question tonight. I just kind of came to give you support. Thank you for all the hard work I know you have to do up there. It's impossible for one man to do it, but I appreciate the effort.
I agree with everyone I've heard so far. My name is Rosemary Marcia. I guess I'm wondering, is there some way that this lying man we have in the White House and all of his staff, they stand
stand there, they lied to us, the people that are supporting them, and they lied, the president even lied to the United Nations about that Benghazi. Isn't there some way we can impeach that gentleman?
I got a question. My name is Jim Martin. I have a question and a statement. My question is, how is this man? I'm not going to call him a president. The president should have status. He has no status. He has lied to the American people. He's lied to me and probably lied to you. And why in the hell is he still in office for at least admonish someone? And my statement is, I will not vote for any incumbent unless I start seeing some action in our party.
My name is Evelyn Wilson. I'm a conservative Republican Tea Party member, and I saw a sleeping giant come away with the Tea Party people. They were able to elect in 2010 congressmen and senators, and it scared the BG out of the Washington establishment, Republicans as well. So they started a character assassination. They were bigots, they were racist, they were Gestapo, and when that didn't stop the Tea Party, they called them the big guns, the IRS. That stopped it. Where was our representatives? Didn't you know that the IRS was doing this? Didn't the congressman know that in 2011 they were doing this? They were investigating people? I don't understand what you people are doing in Washington, D.C. And as far as the Obamacare is concerned, he's not a legislator, and he has already said that Washington, D.C., who voted for Obamacare, doesn't have to take it. I threw my flag upside down when they passed Obamacare. What do you people do about it? He wrote an order, and he is not a racist. It isn't color, it's character. He has none. And I'll take another thing. I don't think any of these congressmen deserve their pay. I want a refund.
That Obama has made any physical offenses, and if so, what actions have you taken?
What did you say?
Didn't hear you.
I want to thank you for this format, because this is the first town hall I've ever been to where actually the people have really had a strong opportunity to voice their comments and opinions, and for you to take it in and listen as our representative. So I just want to thank you, and I look forward to hearing you answer these questions and comments as we continue to go around.
My name is Al Pastorius. I'm from Dora. In Obama's first term, he appointed 48, I believe, SWATers. How are these people funded, and what are they doing to us?
Hi, I'm Marie Dubois. I have two things that are major concerns now. One, I expect you to vote to defund Obamacare. And I also expect you to not vote in favor of an amnesty bill. Everybody wants why we have to do anything with 12 million people. You know? Let's have to take care of ourselves.
Congressman, thank you so much for being here. My name is Dan Dubois. I live in Howie in the Hills. And my question is about immigration. Currently, there's a 700 miles of border fence that's already law. The construction of that fence has been law since 2006, but our government has only built 36 miles of that fence. Two, the American people are still waiting for border security and immigration enforcement provisions from the 1986 law to take effect. Three, Barack Obama's Department of Homeland Security has done everything in its power to handcuff our current immigration enforcement agents. Thus, enforcement of current immigration law has not occurred since 2009. Now, these are current laws on the books. Should you decide that new law is necessary, what confidence do you have, or can you share with us, that those new laws will be taking effect at all. Thank you.
Cannot hear you.
I just wanted to say that, you know, your immigration law, I think it's really pointed out, addresses most of the issues, most of the people that are here, because they didn't enforce the law for so many years. So you can't say, if they can provide the information that they're asking, as far as being in this country, that they're working, at least give them a chance. I think say you can't just blank them out.
Cannot hear you.
They're going to repeat them.
Hi, my name is Dan Pelican. I want to make a comment on the immigration issue. On the things I've been hearing from Washington. I'm absolutely against any kind of amnesty. And I keep hearing all the people in charge say, well, if we pass this new immigration law, we got to fix it. In my opinion, the only thing that's broken is the law is not being enforced. And all these people I hear all these talking heads up there acting like if they make all these people give them amnesty, that's just going to like fix the problem. If we give these 12 million people amnesty, there's going to be 12 million more crossing over the border to take their place. I mean, you don't fix things by rewarding people for bad behavior. There you go. They don't, you know, I feel bad for these illegals, but I feel bad for Americans. We're struggling to survive. So but I disagree with like the whole build a fence, because all they're going to do, they're going to climb the fence, they're going to go under the fence. If you want to stop illegal immigration, you have to go after the employers, and if there's no jobs, they'll go home on their own.
Presidency began was the war in this country.
Ted Cruz wasn't.
He wasn't born in this country. I think he was
You're not the only one to vote for that.
None of you all was born here. You're not in.
Hi, I'm Judy Jones. I am a member of the Lake County Democratic Party.
Hey.
He represents Sullivan. We hear a lot about Republicans women and add them to their support groups, and we hear very little about whether you support equal rights for women at all. I'd like to hear your personal position on all of them. Excuse me. I'd also like to know your position on working with Democrats in this conference to move forward.
He's here.
Are we going to get the vote?
Oh, he went
Here. Like you say, being here, but I have a concern also that nobody's mentioned yet, and that is we are sick and tired of our taxpayers going overseas able to pay them. And I'd also like to hear the answers to a lot of our questions before we leave tonight.
Congressman, my name is Randy Fisher, and I grew up in Eustis, graduated from Eustis High School. I have a very, very simple yes or no question.
be the 71st co-sponsor of the fair tax, HR 25. To repeal the 16th Amendment, defund and close the IRS, and bring taxes back to where they should be, where the original founders intended. And I really would like a yes or no answer right now. You wrote me a wonderful letter in June 2012. You said tax policy needs to be simplified. We need to stop double taxing things like death, dividends, profits, and we need to get a plan that simplifies our tax system. There's only one plan out there, but flat tax doesn't do it. It was too easily amended in 1986, and it will be amended again. Can you give me a yes or no? No, you won't.
My name is Barry High. I have one question for you and one for my wife who couldn't be here. My wife wanted to know what your stance was on about gun control, giving people background checks for the one. And my concern, how many years now we've seen neither the Democrats nor the Republicans trying to work together, but to try one upmanship to go against each other. This is not a government for the people. This is for themselves. They need to start thinking about what people are saying. Thank you.
Congressman, my name is George Lloyd, and I live in Mount Dora. I just moved here about a year ago. And I'm here for the same reason. I want to stop this amnesty. I've been in touch. I used to live in New York. I've been in touch with my representatives in New York, and I get the same answers. Nothing can be done because of such a mass amount of people that are breaking the law. That doesn't get it. And I'm here just to say that I want to stop this.
We've had quite a few, and it's almost been a half hour. I at least ought to see if I can clear out some of these questions. A lot of them take long answers. I'll try to make them short. First of all, let me start with Obamacare. We have voted 40 times to either repeal all or part of Obamacare in the House of Representatives. So those have done nothing. I think we can at least say we've taken a stand. The Senate has done, some, but not all. Just to give you an idea, of those 40 votes, 7 of those have become law. They have been passed by the Senate, and they've been signed by the President of the United States. And they all were part of removing things out of that act. Somebody was asking me where I stand on Obamacare. I'm not sure which act you're talking about. Is it the one that was passed by the Democrat House and Senate and signed by the governor a while back? Or is it the one that the President has made it since he started doing a bunch of directives? So let me tell you this. Here's where I stand on just in health care personally. When I got to Washington, I did not accept the subsidized health care. I buy mine just like everybody else. So when Obamacare comes along, it doesn't have really the effect on me. The decision on changing the law as it stands now to allow the United States Congress to actually participate in the subsidies that they're getting now, even though it's forbidden by that law that passed, was done in a secret meeting with the President and the Democrat senators who actually proposed it. Now, I'll get to that. These are not executive orders. Please understand. I know that's a name that's known, and so people blame all these things on executive orders. There's something different, and I did something about it a couple weeks ago. and I hope the Senate will take it up too. There are laws. Underneath those laws, there are regulations. Those regulations are put out and in a lot of cases allowed for by the department to clarify how the law is going to be enforced. And it's not something new to this administration. It's done over and over again. There are procedures. You hear those. There's a time for public comment. People make comments, and then they publish the final rule, which has the force of law. There is something under that which most members of Congress don't know about until I made it known to them here a few days ago. There's something called directives. So if I read to you what was done for the members of Congress or for the businesses who were now exempt from the basically the tax that they were going to have to pay because they did not cover their employees if they're large businesses and so forth. All of these changes that have been made, including the bypassing of the cap on out-of-pocket expenses, which started at $2,000. Now it can be anything you want it to be or anything the insurance companies want it to be. All those things were not done by executive order. They were done by what they call guidance documents. And in the state of Florida, I served a long time in the legislature there, they had working papers, which were underneath the regulations. And back before we gained control, they rewrote the laws with these working papers. That's the same thing that's happening in Washington. They're taking these directives. And most members of Congress don't know about them. I knew about them, and so I waited and waited, and along came a bill that dealt with a similar part of that. I eventually convinced them that this amendment should be allowed to be put on, which would take all the directives, the guidance documents, and bring them back to Congress to be approved. And if they're not approved, then they can't go into effect. Now, that bill, that amendment ended up passing here 2 weeks ago. And that bill ended up passing and going to the Senate. I hope the Senate takes it up. It is a very, very important issue. Because when I explained it to the chairman who was offering the bill, you know what he asked me? What's a guidance document? And yet it is changing. I mean, I guess the things that are publicized are the ones in the Affordable Care Act. But they change all kinds of things. Not through necessarily executive orders. He does a few of those, but not as many as they do guidance documents. So you remember those words. Because if you read the story about how Congress ended up getting a benefit that they were forbidden to get, it is a butcher job on the statutes of this country. It was awful. It was almost like one of my former opponents used to be able to twist my words around and leave some of them out in order to do me in. And that's exactly what they did. They took a provision that was supposed to prevent it and twisted it so it would actually approve it. And I'm sorry that happened. But that happened in a meeting I didn't get to go to. And I acted by passing it. I can't pass anything in the Senate. And I can't make the president sign it. But I do know that guidance documents are being used to circumvent the law. And it's something that's been not just for this administration over and over, but they have used it, in my opinion, to misguide instead of guide. And that's one of them. As far as the law itself, like I said, I voted 40 times to get rid of part or all of them. And I'll do it again. You know, I'm in. So whatever it is we can do to stop that law, I want to do it. I think we can. I think that law is bad for America. And the reason it is because it's affordable care. It's not affordable. It's not a care. It's really not an act anymore. It's a suggestion. The president takes what he wants and disregards other things. So I'm convinced there are bills out there, there are amendments out there being talked about. Please don't get sucked into the fact that we can just wave a magic wand and all of a sudden it goes away. It's going to be difficult to do. That's why all-out repeal is the best option. So we've done it twice in the House. We have passed an all-out repeal of that law. It repeals everything. It repeals the money. It repeals the statute, the underlying statute, it repeals the rules and regulations and so forth. It repeals the entire thing. And so anyway, just know I'm in on that. There were some questions about the IRS and other things that are happening, and why isn't Congress doing anything on some of these important issues. We are. Don't count on the media to tell you that we are. Please don't. I hope you don't believe that. Just because you don't hear about it doesn't mean something's not happening. It's happening. It's happening every day. And we're making connection after connection after connection. So it started off, we started a year and a half ago asking questions, and there was denial, it never happened, never happened, never happened. Then finally there was an admission that, yeah, there was some things done to certain groups to keep them from getting a 501c4. Well, once that took place, we began investigating. And that investigating led to this statement. It's 2 rogue employees in Cincinnati that did it. Well, we talked to them and all their cohorts, and that didn't happen. They're pointing their finger to Washington. And it's made it all the way, as we do these oversight hearings, we can't fire anybody. We can't dismiss people. That's not what we can do. We can investigate. We do 2 things. We make policy and we do oversight. And this oversight committees are moving step by step through these things. So all those things that have come out about it being more than just 2 rogue employees, all those things that come out, it's taken it all the way to the General Counsel and the IRS. All the things that now have just come out that connect it with not just the IRS, but with the Federal Elections Commission and with the Securities and Exchange Commission. All were trading emails. All were doing things to do one thing. One thing. This is all it is. Now, please understand that this is the primary goal, and that is to dismantle free speech. That's what it's about. You may not make those connections, but that's what this whole thing was about. To pressure people that were saying the wrong things, and to reward those that are saying the right things. And so whether it's the SEC pressing down on companies who give to the wrong people, or it's the Federal Elections Commission to start pressuring candidates and other people and doing investigations and so forth, or it's the IRS who end up auditing people that just all of a sudden popped up on the list that they made. So, and somebody asked about, they wanted me to answer about another list that the government should have. Do you think, does anybody here really believe that the government should have one more list that they could take and use for political purposes? Absolutely not. So you're going to do a registry. That registry would be used just like these other things are used. And now we're going to turn our health care records over to the IRS? No, we're not.
Why do we better get the NSA amendment then?
Let's close them.
Well, that one, we'll get to that. But in the end, we're going to do these investigations. We're going to move step by step by step. Please understand, it takes a long time to get to them, and yet we're going to do it. And so we've moved from nothing to 2 rogue employees to pointing the finger at Washington to the General Counsel of the IRS to the SEC and the FEC. It just takes time, but we're going to expose it. We will. And if you take other investigations like Benghazi and like Fast and Furious and these other ones, which were I guess, phony scandals, whatever, they can tell what they want.
Why isn't Eric Holder in jail?
You have the right to pass the laws. You have the right to subpoena. You have the right to hold it.
I let you talk. Now I want you to listen. Okay, I'm answering these questions. And you can go about that. We have used all of those rights. We can't pass laws. We can pass positions out of the House of Representatives. We cannot make the Senate. We have held Eric Holder in contempt of court, but that, by law, is enforced by the Attorney General. So now we have taken him to civil court to get a contempt of Congress in civil court. It just takes time, but we're going to get there. We're not stopping. We're not moving. We're moving forward. Step by step by step. And we're going to get to the bottom of it. So we're going to get to the bottom. Then there is the issue of immigration. Let me tell you where I am. And then I'll tell you how we're going to make that happen. Number one, we seal the borders first. And it becomes the trigger for anything else. And until they're sealed, they're not sealed. And that's the key. So you want to say they can jump the fence or whatever? No. We're setting up a matrix, we're going to have a plan that says they have to be 90% secure. That's not going to be given to the Department of Homeland Security to turn the switch on or off. No. It's going to be done by the Government Accountability Office, who's going to go through a checklist that we provide that says it's secure. And until that takes place, that's what we call first. You're going to see the House go step by step again.
What about the asylum requesters?
We're taking up separate issues on each one. There is that. I know a lot of people saying, well, why don't you arrest people that break the law? They don't break the law. 40% of the people that come here are here because they came legally. And now they're visa ransom. Okay.
It's a violation of the law.
Just a minute. No. There's no violation of law. So you wonder why can't local law enforcement enforce the law? There is no. So the courts will not allow them to detain someone who has not broken the law. It's not even a misdemeanor. So please understand that. But what we want to do is make it to where they can do that. We can't solve this problem with just the Department of Homeland Security. We need the state law enforcement officers. We need the local law enforcement officers to band together to say we're going to enforce internally. There's the internal enforcement. There's the external by sealing the borders. The sealing of the borders too is more than just that issue. It is a national security issue. There are people coming across our borders that have nothing to do with coming here and working, even if they're coming across in the wrong way. No. It's people who are coming here to do harm, to be drug runners, to be human traffickers and other things, which have got to stop. So there's a huge reason why we do that. The internal enforcement also helps take care of that. Those are two big things, and we've got to do those things. And there's going to be triggers that say it's done, it's complete, it's there. And I agree. I agree with E-Verify, or a program like E-Verify that says, okay, you have to be here lawfully in order to take the job. And so there's where I am there. There's somebody yelled out about the NSA. Just to sum that up, I'm not here. I can't defend some things just because I was there when they did these top secret sessions where they gave us classified information. I can't use that information to defend the vote I took. What I will tell you this, myself, Michelle Bachman, who was there, and some others who were there, listen to General Alexander. I trust him. He's a 4-star general. He is a hero. He is a patriot. And he explained why, although I can't tell you all the explanation, he explained why they needed to do what they were doing. They don't listen to phone calls. They don't know your name. Here's what happens, and this is the answer. This is what twisted me the other way, and this is it. If there were a known terrorist in a foreign country, which is who they work with, at least that's who they're investigating, General Alexander's investigating, and if they were to call, let's say, someone in the United States, a citizen, and let's say they called them 25 times in the last 5 days, 10 minutes per call. If that amendment had passed, they would not be able to do anything with that person, even though they got 25 calls from a known terrorist, 10 minutes each, in a 5-day period of time. That's too much. It is. Does NSA need to be clipped? Yes, it does. And will that take place when we actually do the substantive policy bill? It will. But as far as eliminating that, I can't go that far. We've had 54 instances where another 9/11 could have been thwarted using this program. I don't trust Eric Snowden. He can say stuff that's this and that and the other, but I don't know whether to believe the guy or not. So here, that's where I am. I do believe General Alexander, and I do believe that what I heard, and like I said, Michelle Bachman and some other conservatives, Mike Rogers, who's the chairman of our info committee, they were there. And we all asked questions, lots of them, and we put them on the line. But Anyway, that's where I am with that. There was yes or no on the fair tax. Am I going to co-sponsor? Probably not, but I'm the hardest co-sponsor in the Congress. There's very few things I co-sponsor because I don't have control over it. And in the end, do I favor that? I favor anything, including the fair tax. If it came up for a vote, I'd vote for it because I believe it's something that we got to do something. We have, I don't know, 12, 15 million words in a tax code. Nobody knows what's in it. I'm for yanking all that out. I take around, I don't have it with me tonight, but a 2013 income tax form. The lowest percentage is 1%, the highest was 6%, and there was nothing else. It was one page of instructions, one page. Put in the amount you make, multiply times 1%, and that's your tax. Done. And so there's no winners and losers, no favorites. Nobody pays 0 and somebody else pays, 50 or whatever. No, it's just a simplified form of one page. If we could go to that, I'd do it. If I get a chance to vote on it, I'd do it.
Until it's amended.
Anything could be amended. But the point is, we have to have tax reform. If we do that, we're going to get the economy rolling. I mean, in the end, we need jobs. We need people that are employed. We need to lower. We've come to believe that 7.5% is kind of a good unemployment number. It's a bad unemployment number. Until we get below 5%, it's not even worth talking about. People want me to do a statement every month when it goes up a point or down a point or a tenth of a point. It really doesn't matter. We have got to make considerable progress there. We can do it by modifying our tax code, by expanding the economy, not growing the economy at 1.5%, which is done all through this presidency, but instead of that, we need to grow 4 or 5% in the economy. When we do that, there'll be people paying, and there'll be jobs created, and this economy can get rolling again. We need to squeeze down on regulations, and I was part of a bill that does that. It brings regulations even back to the Congress for approval if they're major regulations. So there are a lot of issues out there, and that's a few of the answers. And here's what I'd like you to do. Let me see here. We might be able to go and get a little further down the road, so let's just try that, and I'll try to answer them. So right over here. Yes.
My name is Patricia Sullivan. I live around Dora. My question and concern is that what is going on? Everybody is tripping over themselves, trying to hide the truth. There were 4 men that were murdered, including our ambassador, and it looks like we're not really doing anything. And I have another question. We are, maybe we're the silent minority at this point, but we could do something. We should be writing letters. What can we do? Organize that.
Doing this again.
Good afternoon. My name is Dora. I'm a wonderful woman. I've been here all my life. And I live in
Can't hear you.
I share some of the same concerns that you My concern is how long is Congress going to continue to take funds from Medicare and Social Security? I would like to see an amendment created or a bill created that will protect funds for Social Security and Medicare. In addition, I would like someone to review the FCC rates. There are too many surcharges to consumers. Consumers are paying through the nose for rate increases, charges, And if you look at your phone bill, your utility bill, the rate and your homeowner's insurance, we're paying through the nose. And a lot of people in this area are living on fixed incomes. In addition, I would like to see financial reform. The last financial reform was back in 1986, and 84, I believe. And people who have savings accounts are having injustice from banks. If you have $5,000 in savings, you earn like 0.2%. That is not fair. That is not fair. However, the bank would take your money and make 11 and 12% off it. I want to see something done for consumers.
Get rid of Obama.
They have money, they spend money. The corporations are making money like crazy and giving nothing back to consumers and taxpayers. I would like to see, I don't know if we have anything to do with Duke Energy in this state. Consumers are getting hit with the nose with the energy companies and also fracking. I do not want to see fracking on our shores. I don't want to see oil drilling in
North Dakota.
I would like to see more control and more regulation on banks.
One question.
Okay.
Next.
Okay, that was a lot. First of all, understand that the money that's come out of the Medicare has been the Affordable Care Act. That's the $700 billion out of Medicare, and it's sad. It's being used to subsidize people who make $94,000 or below in their insurance policy. So we have done, again, we've tried to just repeal that. That's fallen on deaf ears in the Senate, but we're going to continue trying. As far as there has been financial reform, I wouldn't have been in Congress, I would have voted against it, but Dodd-Frank was a major piece of legislation. The President chose to bail out the big banks, and for what reason, I don't know, but he did. I guess maybe they too were too big to fall or fail. So there's some other things that I'd like to tell you about, and it's this. I want to kind of give you my philosophy of where I am. Maybe this will help solve some of these problems that you're thinking about. Look, I didn't go there, I just told you I didn't go there for benefits. I don't take the health care benefit, eye care, dental care, none of that. I didn't go there for that. I went there to try to make a difference. When I walked in the door, I was told in my orientation session, first words out of my mouth was the pay clerk telling us how much we made. I caught her on the way out and asked her how much did they make in 2008, because I'd heard if we roll back to 2008, we could balance the budget. She told me how much. I said, that's what I'm going to pay. She said, you can't do it. It's against the Constitution. Everybody has to be paid the same. I said, okay, I'll give them money at the end of the year. I'll pay at the end of the year. I wrote out a check, took it, called the Department of Treasury, took it over there. Not the nice building across from the White House, but this is the Bureau of Public Debt. And so I took it there. There were 11 employees there. And I took it in. They were a little hesitant, but they did take my check. And there, by the way, you might not know where they were located at the time, but it was in Chinatown. Think about it. They've moved since. I think they probably figured out it wasn't a great place to do. So the next year I did it. When I was leaving, the lady told me, who runs the place, don't tell anybody. I said, why not? Well, we're not set up to have a bunch of congressmen come over here and pay down the public debt. I go, I'm going to tell them, but I don't think that's going to happen. Well, I did. I almost convinced one other person to go over there. He said he should do it, but he didn't. So they didn't have a big run. So the next year, they were happy to see me because they knew a whole lot of others weren't going to come. And I gave them. They even took a picture, sent me a thank you note. I did get to double my money. Warren Buffett said on national TV that he would match anybody that gave back money. And so I wrote him a letter, and he sent me back a response which said, you got me. I'll be sending in my check. So I did get to double my money. But I want to tell you, just to end, this is my philosophy, and I want to try to work it in here really fast. And that is this. There is a culture in Washington that I'm against. So you have all these issues, and just know it's the culture that dictates much of this. And I'm going to give you one of the principles of the culture, really quick, and that is, if it's appropriated, spend it. That's a cultural principle in Washington. Please understand that's a bad principle, but that's it. If it's appropriated, so there's no incentive to save money. I tell you, I get money. I have money appropriated to me to run my office. I have 4 offices, like I told you, and one in Washington also. I have a staff we hire and other things. But I set out on a course to try to prove that that's not true. And so over the first 2 years of there, now we're in the 3rd year. At the end of this year, I'll have, when I give that last check, I'll have turned in more than $1 million back to the federal government. 30% of the money we were allocated to spend. But because most members you get caught up in the fact that it's appropriated spending, you just do it. But you don't have to. And so I'm working on incentives to let people let agencies and governments, bureaus and departments keep part of the money that they save and then turn back the rest to be much better than the system we have now. So anyway, I'm working on that big time. I want to bring down that one principle that will change the way our government is working and the money we spend. It's not fraud, waste, and abuse. This is just waste. Fraud and abuse are against the law, but waste is not. That's a problem. And so I don't want to see money wasted. And so I've personally tried to make an example that says it doesn't have to be wasted. It doesn't have to be used. It doesn't have to be spent.
Thank you.
And in the end, you can multiply. Everybody can. Multiply that amount by 435 people. Multiply it by, the senators get about 5 or 6 times the amount, so multiply that plus a whole lot more there. It's billions of dollars. Just wasted. Just wasted. So I have a card, and it's a voting card. And it looks pretty permanent when you see it because it's got my picture on it, it's got a little seal, it's got my signature. But I realize that this only lasts for another 1.5 years. I realize I have to earn it again. And I'll do my best I can to do that. I can't do everything, but I'll do what I can do. I'm going to take this card and use it the best I can to benefit the citizens of this community. And when I do that, just know, here's the principle I use. If I'm 51% for something, I'm going to vote for it. Because there's nothing perfect, especially in the United States Congress. Maybe the Mother's Day resolution or something like that. That's about it. But if I'm 49% for it, I'm voting against it, even if it has a lot of good things in it. I can't vote for it unless I'm convinced that there's more good than bad. So that's the way I'm going to use my card. To do everything I can to benefit you. And in some cases, the state of Florida, and in a few cases, even the country. I drive a 1997 F-150. I'm not looking for anything. I'm not looking to get anything out. I just want, like you, I want to help save this country. I'm one vote, but I'm going to use that vote the best I can. And when I use it, just know I've thought it through. I don't make any wild votes. I just make votes. And I listen, I read. I don't go to parties. I don't go to dinners. I don't go to any dinners. I go home and I read because there's so much to read. I want to know as much as I possibly can because I want to bring down the culture of Washington. And I can do it with your help. I hope you let me do it. But,
you can recognize who you can also speak to within Congressman Webster's office. This is Elizabeth Carroll, and Cindy, I believe, is here as well. And
also available to you if you have an issue or something that you would like to speak with them about. Again, there's an informal reception that's going to be out right off of the lobby. And part of this, again, is Mr. Anderson has graciously given us the facility so that we can engage and educate. We want an educated and an engaged community. So if there are representatives from either one of the political parties here, we'd also like to come to the front. If you would like to engage in the arena in Lake County, which I encourage you to do, if those representatives from those parties want to come forward and find out how you can continue to make a difference in your community.